Cupid and Psyche. Curiosity begats harm at times. The story begins with Venus's revenge on Psyche, whose beauty was beyond compare among the mortals. People left the temples of Venus, who was the epitome of beauty, unattended, and all flocked to express their amazement at her delicate skin, rosy cheeks, and a cascade of sleek black hair flung loose over her shoulders. No one ever noticed that a pair of envious eyes had been cast upon this maid. To vent her anger, Venus sent for her son, Cupid, and incited him to strike an arrow into her bosom, so that she would fall in love with some ugly and deplorable creature. When Cupid arrived at Psyche's chamber and was about to take action, he was dumbfounded by her breathtaking beauty in repose. "Such charms are nowhere to be found," murmured the winged boy. Feeling that someone was near her, Psyche opened her eyes, and this glance could catch anybody off guard. It radiated a kind of pity with placidity, which could move the fiercest man to tears or could put any crying baby to sleep. Never had Cupid been stared at in this way before. He was plunged into bewilderment, and he accidentally wounded himself with the golden-headed arrow, which could excite love for the person the injured saw at first sight. Despite her unsurpassed beauty, Psyche's hand was never asked in marriage. But that was not bad enough. The maid was prophesied to marry a monster dwelling in the depth of a forest that neither gods nor men can resist. Who could this monster be? It was Cupid, the messenger of a thing that can touch the strings of every heart, love. Indeed, neither a mortal nor a god can defeat it. To receive this girl he would die for, Cupid supplied her with a magnificent palace, a procession of servants, and, of course, enormous wealth. Psyche seemed to have everything except one thing, a glimpse at her husband's face, as he only came to the palace after dusk and had to go at dawn. Once he told her, "Never make any effort to reveal my looks, because what you should really care about is my love for you." At first, Psyche could still keep her promise and hold her curiosity in check, but it carried on gnawing its way out. Besides, she was cajoled by her two elder sisters, who were jealous of her fortune, into uncovering her husband's identity and killing him in no time if he proved to be a monster. One night, finding that her husband had fallen asleep, Psyche took out a lamp and a sharp knife, hoping to find out what her husband looked like. If what Cupid found was the most beautiful woman in the world, Psyche's feelings were mutual at this moment. The most charming man, with his golden wisps of hair streaming along his snowy neck, and a pair of wings as white as swan's down, which seemed to be shining even in pitch darkness. As she wanted to get a closer look at this adorable man, a drop of burning oil fell on his shoulder. Being roused by such a tiny drop and angered by his wife's impertinence, Cupid flew out of the window and disappeared into thin air. Filled with remorse and dismay, Psyche came to the temple of Venus and pledged to do whatever she could to win her husband back. She was then assigned several arduous tasks that were beyond human strength. Taking them as a labor of love, Psyche's determination won the assistance from other gods, and she was able to finish them one by one. However, once again, curiosity took its toll on her. Her last task was to deliver a box of divine beauty from Persephone, the queen of the underworld, to Venus. On her way, she could no longer resist the temptation of seeing what was contained in the box. Contrary to what she thought, there was nothing but perpetual sleep. Being released from the box, it took hold of her, and Psyche lost all her consciousness. Deeply in love with Psyche, Cupid could not afford losing her for so long, and therefore started to find her whereabouts. Upon seeing that his beloved lay unconscious at the exit of the underworld, Cupid woke her with the tip of one of his arrows. At the same time he lamented, "Again you fell prey to your own curiosity." Against all odds, Cupid and Psyche could finally be joined in marriage. Zeus, the god of gods, even granted Psyche immortality. A daughter was also born to them after some years, and her name was Pleasure.